Hey friends, I am back from traveling and I thought it would be fun now that we have all this additional information that's come out recently to go back and finish recapping the episodes that I found too boring at the time. So we're going back to episode 6, y'all. Let's see what insights we got. So Lifetime starts out this episode with a little pensive music of sky view of cutoff and then a close up of that infamous Gypsy Rose golf cart. Then Rod asks Kian if he wants to go fishing, and we all know how from the preview from episode 5 how that went. He sees something and thinks it's an orca. What's funny to think about here is based on what we know now, Gypsy was doing the exact same thing, but back in the day, she was telling Ryan, I need to spend time with my family, and it was really time with Ken. I have a feeling that Kian's going out with Rod, and Gypsy's spending that time talking and sexting with Ryan. What do y'all think? Then Kian talks about how he's never been fishing before, and he felt it was important to have a proper fishing shirt, and he fits in now. Yeah, I'm sure the country Cajun people see you as totally one of them now. Then they switch to Gypsy in the kitchen, and she starts telling that same boring story about the first kiss Ken gave her, and she got in trouble at the prison. Bleh. I know a lot of people have commented on Ken's aging since he came back into Gypsy's life, and also his fashion, but my God, what happened? What happened? Rod and Ken do a big long deal of talking about how, it's so important to share each other's culture, quality time, get to know each other, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, Rod's like, still think he's an idiot who left his wallet at the store this morning. So at that point, it rains, they can't go fishing, and then Gypsy and Ken have a super boring conversation about what kind of parents I think they're going to be. Like, I'm so bored, y'all. And this is that infamous part where Gypsy says, that Dee Dee wasn't good at a lot, but what she did really well was manners, and Gypsy wants to do the same. I don't see that happening because, like I've said before, her manners went to hell after Dee Dee was gone via Gypsy's bad manners, if, however you want to describe that she had to plead guilty to MURDER4. Then Kian shows some of his baby pictures and talks about how he doesn't want the baby to grow up in a broken home because he did. They're not doing so good at that so far. So they were having Kian do a voiceover while he tried to put the crib together, and then he eventually just walks out away from the pile of stuff, basically how it is there, and says, "Oh, I need a minute." He seems kind of helpless, y'all. Then Lifetime gives us a little happy sound of music and a view of the highway in New Orleans. They do a little tour of Acadiana Village, talk about the baby shower. After all the baby shower planning, little scene drama, they show Raina saying that Rod wasn't the only one saying, listen, she wants a baby, don't do it. Interesting. Kian had plenty of warning. We know Gypsy told him on Natasha Cooper's Live, and probably before that she was on birth control. But still, I don't know. What was Ken's game plan, y'all think? This little scene transition here was really weird because they had Ken talking on the phone to his family about their flight coming in, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you later tonight. And then they switched to this weird angle of Gypsy looking in the mirror at herself, doing her makeup. And it was really ominous music. Feels like a little Lifetime shade. And this was a weird scene because Ken was about to leave for work and he's like, are you packed to go for the baby shower? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yep, have a good day for work. And the energy was tense, like they'd had another one of their fights or something. And I got to wonder if she wasn't on the phone to Ryan after he left. What do y'all think? And after that, we get Gypsy going to this poor lady's house who made the baby shower cookies, the unfortunate cookies that apparently Gypsy asked for that theme. But she's trying to tell Gypsy about her personal history with ABUSE, and Gypsy just seems so disinterested. She says some perfunctory things like, oh, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. But you can tell, she gives her a quick hug and she's getting out of there. This lady's sobbing and crying, y'all, and Gypsy's giving her this look. After that interaction, Gypsy starts talking about how proud she is of the fact that every time she's out and about and meets people in person, nobody's ever said anything offensive or rude, but yet online, so much hate. Well, I think most of the people that she meets randomly out and about don't have full information. What do y'all think? Lifetime gives us another nice shot of New Orleans with a little mystical music. Every time they show the Metairie house, it's Kian's house. as you noticed there in the Lifetime. Lifetime shows Raina and Kian's brother outside of Kian's house looking for his house key that apparently he told him he keeps in a box. What happened to security, y'all? God. They show a kind of boring breakfast with Kian and his family, and then Mia comes in hot talking about how she's been telling Gypsy what she needs. Gypsy's not getting it done, and she's getting irritated. They show Kian and his brother having a little chat at a burger place, and Kian looks actually happy whenever talking about his job. I think he really loves being in a restaurant, y'all. Kian's brother then asks how it's going with Gypsy's divorce, and Kian's energy completely changed. He gets really agitated, starts talking about how people want to know when we're going to get married, but we don't want to rush into it and have a bullshit courthouse wedding just to, get the marriage stamp. Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to happen, y'all. I really don't. What do y'all think? Like, to me, Kian does not seem the slightest bit interested in Gypsy, and we all saw that cringy as hell. What was it, a Father's Day video thing that she did where she was like in the bed pretending to pull him with something, and Ken was fully dressed with a TV remote looking scared. It was weird, y'all. Really weird. We go back to Mia, and she starts talking about how she asked Gypsy to do very few things for this, and she didn't do any of them. Does that surprise any of us? That's the Gypsy we know. But then we see Mia at the baby shower telling everybody else what to do, saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, change this, change that, everyone else carrying stuff around. And then Mia sits down and takes a deep breath, and she's like, maybe I should have done it all myself instead of delegating. Yeah, maybe. Wow. Mia complained about the cookies too. She looked in the box and she's like, it's all flowers. The theme is bows, and there's no bows. It's all flowers. And I know a lot of people have said she was being really rude about the baker to that, but I feel like she was mad at Gypsy in that moment, because Gypsy said whenever she went to see the baker that she told the baker what she wanted. So it sounds like maybe she didn't tell her bows. I don't know. What do y'all think? Also, Mia seems really, really frustrated with Gypsy in this episode. Have we seen Mia and Gypsy do much together since the baby shower? I can't think of much. What about y'all? While Mia was going off more, she left us with this gem. People just don't have common sense. Then we get Kian and family on their way to the baby shower, and Raina seems all excited about meeting Gypsy in the free world. And then there was kind of an odd thing, because I thought Ken was a dog guy, but Raina says, I wonder if Christy will have her dog with her, and Ken goes, she always does, and kind of just had a look and energy about him with it. I don't know. Am I reaching here? If y'all have seen that, and I'm not daring to share a clip because I hear Lifetime is being really coming after the content creators if they show clips. But if y'all have seen it, what impression did you get there? Did you think he seemed kind of like he doesn't like the dog being everywhere? Which I don't know why. I thought he was a dog guy. Anyway, after all the lead up, they finally get to the baby shower, and we get a little jump scare with Stanfield. Also, Kian's brother picked up on the same thing I did, because the producers asked him, how is Kian doing? And he says, stressed. Mia starts handing out directions. Sign the book, read the 2 signs, do what they say. It's like boot camp. Like, this is a baby shower. We will have fun. Yeah. Oh, they did one of those cringe, annoying games. You're not allowed to say baby. You take a clothespin, someone can take it from you. But it's so stupid. I hate that stuff. If y'all enjoy it, good for you. I'm not yucking y'all's yum. I'm yucking Blanchard yums, okay? Gypsy's hugging Rob's mom here, and it looks like for the shower, she specifically chose a dress to show off that eerie tattoo. That was certainly a choice. Then Ken tries to act cool with Bobby Petrie. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get my hunting license, go hunting with Rod. Bobby's looking at him like he's so bored. I don't think Bobby believes him at all. Until they showed her face straight on, I confused Rod's sister with Christy for a minute. And then we get Ken being all delusional in a voiceover. He's like, everyone loves us and everyone's happy for us. My mom can't wait to have a grandkid. And I wonder if he had any idea at that time when he was saying that Raina had just been recording on her own saying, Rod wasn't the only one that told Ken, Gypsy wants a baby, don't do it. Ken tried to do the baby game thing with Gypsy, but she'd never paid attention to take the clips like she was supposed to. And the laugh that she did unlocked a memory. Let me find a clip, y'all. Oh my God, y'all. So I was thinking of Janice from Friends. Janice from Friends, her laugh. And I pulled up compilation of Janice's laugh on YouTube to show y'all a clip. Janice and Chandler have Gypsy and Ken's energy. Let me show y'all what I mean. Okay, let's see if y'all are seeing what I'm seeing or if you think I'm reaching.
Smile, you're on Janice camera.
Oh, so cringe, y'all. Tell me that's not Ken energy.
Oh no, I have enjoyed the fact that I'm sure it's been sticking out of your zip up since you came back from the bathroom.
That reminds me not only of Gypsy's lifetime restaurant dinner with Ken, but the one with Ryan too, y'all.
The union and all.
You couldn't have told me about this.
This one reminds me of whenever Ken was mad because Gypsy decided to post the paternity test, even though he'd expressed reservations about that, and she only let him know through a text, not a phone call.
For the phone?
And what? Miss the expression on your face? Oh no. Janice likes to have her fun.
That last one reminded me again of that super cringy, like in bed pulling me thing where Ken was fully dressed and had the TV remote and looked like he wanted to evaporate. So back to the recap, there's an awkward moment where they show Mike Stanfield coming in the door, and Ken's like, I didn't know Mike was coming. It just had an odd vibe to it. Maybe I'm interpreting something there that's not there, but seemed a little weird to me. And then Gypsy, the one who actually wrote to people in prison about flashing her status of a public figure of inspiration to make them like her, had the audacity to say that she gets very uncomfortable and nervous and shy at these types of things. She doesn't like it when all eyes are on her. What is she doing then, y'all? Mia finally calms down and says she feels like she was stressed for no reason and thinks she was too hard on herself. I don't know where she came to that conclusion. It seemed like she was being hard on everybody else that she delegated to. What do y'all think? They do a little carousel of Dee Dee and Gypsy with Gypsy doing a voiceover, and she says that she is not taking any aspect of the fact that her mom's Dee Dee Blanchard into her own parenting because Dee Dee wasn't a good enough mom for her to take anything from her and use in her own mothering, which is really strange and contradicts what she literally said just earlier in this episode, that the one thing her mom did right in her opinion was manners, and she wants to do the same. Now, later on, like 30 minutes later in the episode, it's there's nothing that I can do like her in my mothering, nothing at all. Y'all, she's so ridiculous. Like she can't stop contradicting herself from one sentence to the next. It's like it's just second nature to just say whatever she thinks would be easiest to hear for whoever she's talking to at that moment with no foundation of truth. And so once they finally got done with all the baby shower stuff, they go back to Metairie, and Ken is sitting there, and Lifetime, for some reason, does a shot down to his feet, show his bare ankle, which is just, whenever he was wearing shorts with shoes, he had on high socks, and now that he's wearing pants with shoes, he's got low socks. What happened? He seemed to have a decent fashion whenever he first came into the picture. I know everybody says Rod and Ken look alike, and Christy says she doesn't see it, but damn, they got a cap on like that? They're twinning. It's weird how much they look like. Well, this is weird. Rod and Ken were together because they were trying the fishing trip again since they got rained out the first time. And now Ken just said that this is only his second time fishing. Is he counting the time they didn't get to go out on the boat or not at all? Or is he changing his story? Just weird. Just random little weirdness you pick up on, I feel so much secondhand embarrassment for Ken. Rod let him drive the boat and told him speed up a little, and Ken immediately goes, I'm feeling scared. I'll let you take over now. They have a clearly scripted conversation about fatherhood, and then Ken makes fool of himself again. He's like, oh shit, are those orcas? Rod's laughing, telling Ken, yeah, it's totally an orca. He's going to let him go home and be a fool and tell people that he saw orcas out in the bayou. And Bobby has pity on him, and he's like, dude, that's dolphins. That's dolphins. Ken finally manages to catch something. I'm not positive, but what the other guys or one of the crew didn't catch it and then give it to him to show. But then he tries to hold it up for a picture, and he can barely do it. He's very grossed out. He says it's biting him through its gill. After that, Rod and Christy go to a 3D ultrasound with Gypsy and Ken, and Rod says that he doesn't think Gypsy will ever be anything like Dee Dee. He just doesn't think so because him and Dee Dee were never in love. And I really get the energy that Rod's trying to convince himself of that. What do y'all think? And Gypsy then talks about how Rod was working out at sea whenever Mia was born. And she says, well, he was 17 whenever I was born, so he was at the bars. And Ken tries to stop her. He's like, well, we don't know that for sure. Let's not say that. She's like, no, everybody knows. It's public knowledge. He was. Now, that was wild to me because that is something that I'd heard that Dee Dee said. Rod was terrible, drugging, drinking. She couldn't depend on him for nothing. And that he was out drunk whenever Gypsy was born. I assume that was some of Dee Dee's exaggeration because she did exaggerate a lot of things for sympathy and to get more donations. But so many things that she said about Rod and Christy that I just assumed were, or not about Rod and Christy, about Rod, that I just assumed were exaggerations. have turned out to be confirmed by Gypsy Rose, Christy, and Rudd. It's really, really interesting, y'all. Then they show the baby's face on the 3D ultrasound, which Gypsy has said, of course, doesn't count. Just like, everything she says she's not going to do and then doesn't count. She said she was going to go on a social media fast and just didn't. She's changed her mind. She said she was going off social media completely many, many times and then just didn't. But in this instance where they show the baby's face, Ken chose to make a very insensitive joke. He goes, well, the nose looks good, knowing that Gypsy is so insecure about her nose that she had plastic surgery on it. And to me, regardless of the fact that it's Gypsy, that's just not the behavior of someone that's in love. What do y'all think? That was finally the end of this boring episode. There really wasn't that much additional context other than speculation with the stuff we know later. Maybe the next one will be better. We'll see. Hope y'all are having a good day. As always, let me know what you think in the comments.